Hey, good evening. It's really amazing to have you guys here. My name is Daniel. I was a professional opera singer and beatboxer, and tonight we're going to be listening to Austin Brown and Rob Lundquist's rendition of Nessun Dorma. So I'm very well acquainted with this piece. I listen to it every New Year's Eve performed by the three tenors, and I really love this piece. It's not a piece that I can perform, but it's a piece that is very sentimental to me, and I'm really interested to hear how these two country singers tackle this piece. It's a very challenging piece to execute well, so I'm really interested to hear how they tackle it. I've also heard that Rob has opera training, which I'm really excited to hear in its full glory outside of just their country style a cappella context. And I also know that Austin has musical theater experience as well, so I'm sure both of them have been training their vibratos and their support, and I'm sure that both of them are going to be able to execute this piece well. But I'm more or less just really intrigued as to how they handle this piece and how they choose to execute it. So overall, I'm just really excited to jump into this piece, and I hope you guys are too. So without further ado, let's just jump into it.
Nessun dorma, nessun dorma. Tu pure, o principessa,
Oh my gosh!
nella tua fredda
Is that really Rob?
stanza, guardi le stelle
Chills, dude.
che tremano d'amore e di speranza. Ma il mio mistero è chiuso in me. Il nome mio nessun saprà, no, no, sulla tua bocca lo dirò quando la luce splenderà.
That was a nice approach there.
Ed il mio bacio scioglierà il silenzio che mi fa mia.
Chills, dude.
Il nome mio nessun saprà. E noi dovremmo, ahimè, morir di legua tramontate stelle.
Oh my gosh!
All'alba vincerò.
Those harmonies.
Vincerò, vincerò.
Ah! Ah! Man, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. Oh my gosh. Rob's sound, like his timbre, is not what I hear in Home Free. He had so much space when breathing. And what I mean by that is, typically when you breathe classically, I think that all vocalists, no matter what genre of music you're singing, should breathe like this. Because it's just a better way of supporting your breath and a better way of really projecting, where when you breathe, instead of breathing in your chest and your chest rising, you breathe in your diaphragm and your diaphragm expands outward. So something like something like that. And just Rob's sound was so pure and so open, and his vibrato was so powerful. And you can definitely 100% tell that he has opera training, which is just remarkable that he was able to create that kind of immensely pure and robust sound. And his vowels were so open, and they weren't like, it didn't fall into any kind of particular accent. It was just the pure open vowels that piece demands, and it was so excellent. In terms of Austin's voice, you can tell that his training didn't lean into opera, but I definitely heard a lot of musical theater technique in it. His overall sound was much more directed through his mask, and his vowels were brighter, so it didn't completely match Rob's in when they were harmonizing together. But that being said, their harmonies were still very clean right in the middle of the pitch. It's just because their vowels weren't the exact same that the true harmonies didn't 100% mesh together. But that being said, it was still very lovely. And Austin's sound is very targeted and direct forward, so it does have a large contrast between the two voices, but both voices sounded quite lovely. In terms of a classic opera perspective, I definitely prefer Rob's, but again, I think both of them just executed it in ways that were so intrinsic to their own timbres and their own style of singing. And that's what I really think music is all about, is just taking a written piece of music and incorporating not just your voice, but yourself, everything that you've built for yourself, and incorporating that into your music. They just put their all into this, putting it in together. That was very well executed. I really, really enjoyed that, honestly. So let's just jump into the analysis so I can pick it apart a little bit more. Just them coming in their comfortable casual clothes, and then just immediately snapping into this really sharp, very dapper and well-groomed look. I enjoy that. I really enjoy that.
Nessun Dorma.
Right off the beginning, you can hear Rob's really open Nessun Dorma, very open vowels, where Austin's are Nessun Dorma. It's very much more in your face, and it's so much more directed through his mask, which is a musical theater technique, versus that more open, broad space, which is more of an operatic technique. So to hear both of their styles come in together is really, really cool. I don't think that they mesh perfectly, but that being said, this is their own rendition of the piece, and not only do I believe in the saying of to each their own, but I love the fact that they just take on this piece in a way that's so intrinsic for them and their style of singing, and how it is that they choose to approach this piece. So I really dig it. It doesn't need to be perfect for me to just fully immerse myself in it and to appreciate it for what it is. It's really incredible.
Nessun Dorma.
Yeah, and I say this a lot on the channel, where when you have repeating phrases or repeating words, you always have to do something different with it. Because if you're just saying, hey, 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 hey to someone, it doesn't necessarily capture anyone's attention. But if you go, hey, 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 you know, there's so much more gravitas the more it happens. Or if you go, hey, 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 you know, you feel some kind of emotional pull when the same word is being said differently. So the fact that they had this really broad Nessun Dorma, Nessun Dorma, and you just feel the pull of what it is that they're singing, even if you don't understand Italian, and even if you don't have the whole piece memorized or translated, you can still feel that emotional pull in the music, and that is what I think is really incredible in how they approach this. Let's listen to that again.
Nessun Dorma.
I wish they rolled the R a little bit more, but again, teach their own.
Nessun Dorma.
But they flip it, and I appreciate that.
Tu pure, o principessa.
The way he approaches this reminds me so much of Luciano Pavarotti, where he attacks the consonants, not in any kind of aggrandized fashion, but let's hear how he does this phrase again.
Tu pure, o principessa.
Tu pure. Like, you can feel the breath coming in on the consonants, but immediately going into the vowel with so much open space and just flowing with the music. Pesa. And it just carries you. Oh, it's so lovely. Oh, it's so nice. I'm listening to it again.
Tu pure, o principessa, nella tua fredda stanza.
And he rolled the R there, and it was so lovely, and it just flows, and he's so amazing.
Nella tua fredda stanza, guardi.
Oh, just the way he approached that. It just. And his voice is so much higher than mine, so I have a much more difficult time approaching it, so I'm sorry that you guys had to hear my lackluster attempt at that. But you could just feel that pull, and it's so magical, dude.
Fredda stanza, guardi.
Oh, he just carries it so beautifully, dude.
Quelle che trema.
And look at his tongue position. It's just completely flat. There's no tongue tension. Typically when you sing this kind of music, your natural desire without training is to have a lot of stress on your tongue. Duh! And you could just feel the jaw tension, the tongue tension, restricting the airflow. But if you just allow your mandible to relax, you allow your tongue to rest in your mandible without any kind of tension, and you're just using your tongue to create the consonants and to structure the vowels, and you just allow it to rest outside of that. Oh, you just have so much open, unrestricted, unfettered airflow that just flows out and carries the piece so beautifully. Like, just focus on his tongue in this phrase. I know that sounds weird, but just look at how relaxed it is.
La tua fredda stanza, guardi le stelle che
Oh, he just reminds me so much of Pavarotti. It's just making my heart so warm.
tremano d'amore.
And look at his arms as well. They're not really tense. His shoulders are relaxed, and he's just using his arms as a way of visually projecting the flow of the piece, but it's not interfering with the way that he's breathing. It's not interfering with the flow of air from the ground invigorating through his legs, expanding his diaphragm, resonating in his chest, passing through the larynx, and coming out very beautifully. It's just this beautiful flow, and it's so magical and warm. Oh my gosh!
Stelle che tremano d'amore e di speranza.
Oh, and just the way he approaches that, it's so tender. You have this more robust mezzo forte sound or medium loud sound, and then it just gently caresses into a mezzo piano or a medium soft sound. It's so nice. And the way that he lets his vibrato taper out but doesn't lose the support. Typically when you hear a lot of vocalists taper out with vibrato, the vibrato actually crumbles at the tail end of it because it's hard to spin your breath on a very quiet pitch. But no, he just keeps the pitch quiet and still has enough breath to spin his vibrato and cut it off so gently that it feels still supported and it didn't crumble. but he did taper it, and it just felt so lovely. Like, let's listen to that again.
Speranza.
Oh, beautiful ending to that.
Ma il mio mistero è chiuso in me.
Yeah, and just the way that Austin approaches this, very much more bright vowels, not as robust, but it's still very targeted, very directed, and his vowels are actually pretty pure, which I really appreciate in this kind of music, where the whole point of this piece is to feel that heavenly lift and have two higher vocalists, or two tenors in this case, just consistently having this very directed, very open sound just come through, and both of their timbres are very different, but I actually really enjoy that. It's what makes this particular rendition so unique, and I really dig it. Yeah, and something that I see a few artists do with those no's is the fact that they do no, but I really think that the way Austin handled that is the way that I prefer to have those no's done, which is no, having those sharp cutoffs and leading into the next no, because if you translate the piece, those no's being separated adds so much more impact, and it's just you just really feel it so much more when you have those no's separated. You feel that difference, whether it's connected or cut off. You can just feel the flow, and when you have those cutoffs from no, really just invigorates and charges the rest of the musical cadence, and it's so great. It's so great. Let's listen to that again. Oh, and just the way he like just having that very gentle, not over dramatized or histrionic kind of slide, like but and it just completely envelops you, and it's so warm. It's so nice. I love this. Little bit of that musical theater technique coming in there, where he straight tones it and then spins it at the end, where in classical music you would always have your breath spinning, where Austin's is more splen, where classically it might be splen. And again, I love his personal take on this. It adds so much more flair to a traditional style piece, and it's so nice. That was really good too. Closing the N at the very end of the note and immediately running into the D. Splendor. Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah. Look at them. Look at them. Without even singing. Their eyes, their body, like just everything. They're just so enveloped in their own world. And this is what artists like Dimash do very well, where if you just put yourself into a world and experience the music as you're performing it, then even the moments where they're not even singing, you're just completely wrapped by them. You're just so mesmerized and dazzled by what you're witnessing, not even by what you're hearing necessarily. Like, even if all of the music were to cut out and you were just to look at them like this, you're still in the piece. You're still just completely mesmerized by their gaze, and it's just so piercing, yet completely enveloping, and it's so magical. This is what opera has the potential to provide to people, and I wish people didn't just categorize it or put it in some kind of box as a big woman in a metal bra screaming notes. But it's just a magical way of experiencing music. And it's so just... It makes me a little emotional just talking about this. And look at what he did there. His mouth was open, breathing in the vowel before expelling it, like nah, instead of going nah. He breathed in on the nah. If you breathe in on a vowel, you're subconsciously assigning that breath to that vowel. So it becomes its most... So in a way, it becomes its most pure rendition of that vowel. The execution of that vowel is at its most pure because you assigned that breath to that vowel. And it just is executed so wholeheartedly, and I love that. Oh, just the way he's carrying these cadences gives me chills, dude.
Bacio scioglierà il silenzio che mi fa mia.
Oh my gosh. Like, it's just so lovely. And the way that he phrases this just flows. It's not choppy. It's not separated by any means. It's just flowing. It's just a complete arch over the entire cadence. And it's so lovely. It's so well connected. And it flows so perfectly. And again, tapering out that vibrato, but not losing any of the support, not hearing that vibrato crumble in the slightest. It is still well supported all the way until the end of the sound, and it's so incredible. It's so incredible. Amazing technique here. And the way he just approached that, instead of going E with a glottal on the E, he just adding a silent H before vowels, especially if the word starts on a vowel, adding that silent H to come in so you don't have that glottal is a world of difference when you're listening to this piece. It carries the flow. It doesn't feel sharp like a glottal would. Even though it's for a millisecond that you would hear that glottal, you feel it in your body. So just to hear that silent H, like instead of just starting on some kind of vowel, just to hear that silent H kind of curve that. Oh, it's so good.
Il nome mio nessun saprà e noi dovremo.
So the E was a little bit too bright for what I think this piece demands, but what I would do in that case would be noi, keeping that E as dark and as open as possible instead of E. But that being said, this is his training and this is how he approaches this piece, and honestly, I still really enjoy it. I really do. And just the way he approached that, again, you wouldn't have that kind of approach in opera where you would have that vocal fry into the vocalized note. But again, it just adds so much more individuality and texture to the piece. It's a very interesting choice, but I can still really get behind it. We're listening to that again. Oh, just the way that they go from that and just flow with it. Just have those very gentle glissandos or very gentle slides down on those notes. Even if those notes are passing tones or neighboring tones where they're not the highlight of the musical cadence and they're just there to lead from note to note. Just the fact that it's still so wave-like and curved and it's not choppy and it's just flowing with the rest of the orchestra. It's just so magical, dude. And just the way he rolls that R. Oh, it just keeps contributing to that flow. It's so magical. Like, if you listen on that E, you'll hear Rob's going V, where Austin's is V. And because those two different vowels are different, it's not fully harmonizing together, even though the notes themselves are right dead center in the pitch, which is already hard in and of itself. But to have both of these vocalists approach this in a way that's so intuitive for them and so just natural for them, that's what I love about music. It's a human connection. It's a human experience to feel this kind of music. So does it need to follow every rule of opera? Does it need to follow every traditional style? I don't think so, because this is what music is. This is the human connection. This is the experience of human potential. Oh, it's just magic. It really is. Oh, did you hear that last part? That was such a Pavarotti just stylistic choice to do, which is just that ba-da-da at the very end there. Oh my gosh! I'm listening to that entire phrase again. Oh my gosh, chills, dude. Chills. Oh my gosh. That was incredible. That was so amazing. I felt every second of that piece. Oh my gosh. And before you guys ask, no, I will not be singing that piece. I know my voice, and my voice cannot do that piece justice. It's a little too low to handle that kind of piece, even if I were to arrange it down into my register. I genuinely think that piece sounds at its maximum strength when it's sung by a tenor. I didn't know that those two guys had what it took to perform this piece as well as they did, and I already came into this with an expectation that they were still going to execute it well, but I didn't even know the scale of how well, and they just blew my expectations out of the water. Amazing stuff. I'm so thrilled that I got to experience this piece with all of you. Oh my gosh, this is just it sings right to my heartstrings. This piece is one of many, but still one of the pieces that got me very much interested in opera in and of itself. So kudos to both of you, Rob and Austin. Just amazing stuff. Just amazing. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you didn't, please leave a dislike and let me know why in the comments. I do read all of the comments, even if I might not heart a reply to all of them, so please know that your comments just don't go unnoticed. My live streams are Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's going to stay that way until further notice, and I will absolutely let you guys know if that is going to be updated. I'm currently still in development of my Patreon, and I will also let you guys know when that is fully updated. It's not just going to feature early access to a bunch of these types of music videos, but it's also going to include content such as potentially me singing, but guaranteed to be anime content where we talk about decision-making, philosophy, ideas, and different things like that. Again, thank you so much for being here. It really does mean a lot to me, and I can't wait to see all of you in the next video. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone.